Hi, everyone. My name is Mr. Robinson, and I'm here today to share with you my ideology when it comes to my classroom management and also my discipline. And I would also like to mention how, I'm going to structure basically my classroom. All right. So, first, I want to talk about, and I have my notes right here. First, I want to talk about my beliefs on discipline in the classroom. So, I believe it is necessary at times, and it also ties in with classroom management. However, I did, I do know, excuse me, that Ronald Morrison, he makes it clear the difference between classroom management and also discipline, which he deems as real discipline. And I'll get into that shortly. And so basically, when it comes to discipline in the classroom, one of the things that I keep in mind is what my father, who is an educator of 26 years now, he basically would share with me when I was younger that there's a time and place for everything. And with discipline, it could help a student understand that concept, that there's a time and a place for everything. Okay. So I mentioned Ronald Morris, excuse me. So I'm going to start off with him, specifically his approach called the real discipline. All right. And so some of the key points when it comes to his concept, his ideology of the real discipline is that for one, we have to teach them lessons, them as in the students, lessons that have been learned by others and by ourselves. This was in one of his books. And so what I take from that is this, right? Us as the adults, us as the figures who are looking after the students, right? We have to teach them the lessons that we had already learned when we were in their shoes, basically. That's what I take from Ronald Morris when he says that. Okay. And he also mentions how both management and discipline are needed, but they differ. And so what he means by that is when he talks about behavioral management, it's about making the learning environment functional, he says, keep students on task and minimizing disruptions. That's how he describes behavioral management, and I completely agree. And he says when it comes to real discipline, it's not the management aspect of it, it's actually educating them and teaching them what's right and what is wrong, at least what the teacher deems right and wrong. That's the difference. The difference is the management aspect of, making sure the class runs well, but the discipline, which ties in with that concept, but is educating the student on what is wrong and what is right. It's a difference. And so, and it can be looked upon as a subtle difference, but it's still a difference. And so, another point that Ronald Morris brings up that I agree with, and it's part of my ideology and even my teaching philosophy, is that some young students are fortunate to have good caregivers and role models. And so, how this ties into what I'm talking about is this, right? With real discipline, I, as a teacher, would step in for the students who don't have that role model at home, the students who don't have, you know, that figure in their life basically, to show them how to carry themselves, and not only in my class, right, but also in multiple environments. That's what some students need, and that's the role that I would do for them. And one thing that Ronald Morris points out, well, not points out, but he helps me understand is how important teachers are in American society, especially when it comes to people of my ethnicity. And, having my experience out Ingleside and stuff like that, being around kids and stuff, it's imperative that some of these students have a role model like me. And it's not me trying to toot my own horn, but it's me knowing that, hey, I have a good sense of what's right and what's wrong and how students should maneuver in society, especially students of my ethnicity, of my skin tone, because I know how society has looked upon us as African American individuals. And so, Ronald Morris's real discipline, that's something that I will be incorporating when it comes to the discipline aspect of my classroom. Now, William Glasser is another philosopher that I would like to mention as well. And so, William Glasser, specifically the concept that I would like to, and that I am going to incorporate, and I like to mention, excuse me, is the 7 connecting habits. And what entails when it comes to these habits are caring, listening, supporting, contributing, encouraging, trusting, and befriending the student. And so he continues by saying how that all students who come to school can do competent work. And to ensure acceptable competence, teachers must connect strongly with their students. And so this right here ties in with management, in my opinion. This ties in when it comes to the functioning of the class. And this is imperative because, see, how I run my class is a big determinant of how well the class performs, in my opinion. When we have things in Virginia like the SOLs, right? The standardized testing, when it comes to my classroom management, although I dislike the SOLs, being transparent, I have to. It's part of my job, right? And so I have to do my very best at making sure and doing my best that every student passes the SOL so they can continue on with the next grade. And so, with that being said, promoting this type of environment, promoting with the characteristics of caring, listening, supporting, contributing, encouraging, trusting, and befriending, that can, I believe, help when it comes to the success of the students and in the functioning of my class and the performance of my class. And so those theories right there, though they're big roles, excuse me. They're big roles. I would say big aspects of my plan, but they play big roles when it comes to my ideology, my philosophy surrounding classroom management and classroom discipline. And so to conclude what I'm saying here, again, although that classroom management and discipline can go hand in hand, they are different, and even when it comes to like discipline and stuff like that, I understand that consequences are just gonna have to be handed out, whether I like it or not. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not a proponent of discipline. I'm really not, but it's needed at times. And so with that being said, I am the type of teacher to where, and type of educator, at least I would be the type of educator to where I'm a two warning type of person. And after that, we need to go in and hand out a consequence. So whether that's taking away recess time, speaking on the primary school level, whether it's taking away recess time, whether that's taking away a special privilege that I gave to a student, like they will be able to get on the computers after they finish their assignments, things like that, whether I need to write a referral, which that's my last resort, but whether I need to write a referral, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. That's when it comes to the discipline. And the reason I be doing these things is to teach the student, to educate them basically on what they, on, to educate the student, excuse me, on how, listen, I understand you made this mistake. You understand you made this mistake. Okay? Here is a consequence due to the mistake, due to the poor judgment that you made. All right? And how can we move on and go forward from that? And what I will hope the student gets out of me giving the consequence is not necessarily that I dislike the student because I love the student, but more that, listen, I did wrong in this situation. And I understand that I was given this consequence because of my action. And that's how the real world operates, especially when it comes to students of my ethnicity. And so teaching them at an early age that, hey, listen, bad behavior does not, you know what I'm saying? It may not always, when you get caught, it's not gonna give rewards. You know what I'm saying? And teaching them at an early age, I believe it's imperative that. And so to sum everything up again, in conclusion again, this is my philosophy as of right now, and it's definitely susceptible to change more. But these two philosophers are very key aspects in my philosophy when it comes to classroom management and discipline. Thank you.